Story 1: Things you should know about OnlyFans DMs. If you ever get a DM that answers a question you haven't asked, stop typing. Close the app. Turn on a light. I learned that the hard way, alone in my one bedroom in Columbus, Ohio at 3:17 a.m., watching 3 dots pulse like a heartbeat. I wasn't the creator. I wasn't even on camera. I was the guy behind the scenes, the moderator, answering messages for 4 accounts while my cat snored in a cardboard Amazon box and a late-night Buckeyes game replay flickered on mute. Moderating OnlyFans. DMs was supposed to be safe, routine. I handled tips, locked messages, the good morning babe and thanks for the support replies. The creators trusted me. There were rules, boundaries, templates. But that night the templates didn't matter. That night I learned there are messages you don't send back, because they don't come from a person who needs a reply. The message that changed everything started with, "Don't turn around. My name is Noah Reed. I'm 28, born and raised in Dublin, just outside Columbus. I deliver DoorDash lunches, work nights moderating DMs, and drink too much Dunkin' cold brew for someone with a heartbeat." I picked up the mod gig through a Reddit post. 4 creators, all legit, all over the country. Hannah in Austin, Kayla in Phoenix, Jess in Pasadena, and Danny in Cleveland. I signed an NDA. I use a remote dashboard. I never see passwords. I don't touch content. I just handle messages like customer service for parasocial relationships, American Nights blur, you learn patterns, pay-per-view unlocks at dinner time on the West Coast, tips spike during NFL games. The sweet ones say, "Good night, Queen." The rude ones ask for refunds. Real humans, messy, bored, lonely. You can feel the difference. That night, the difference felt wrong the second it arrived, because it knew me. I was on Hannah's account. It was 3:17 a.m. my time. I had a Kroger receipt under my mouse and a candle burning on an Ohio State coaster, pine scented to cover the smell of my neighbor's midnight bacon. The dashboard pinged. New message. The username was normal, Blue Truck 92, with a verified card on file. I skimmed, then froze. "Don't turn around," it said. I like the pine candle. 3rd shelf. Mismatched mugs. The chipped one from Cedar Point. Hannah doesn't live in Ohio. Hannah doesn't know my kitchen, my cabinets, my mug from that roller coaster in Sandusky. This was from her account's inbox. Blue Truck 2 was talking to her, to me through her, and describing my apartment. I glanced at my cat, Muffin, who lifted one lazy ear without opening her eyes. I typed, "How can I help you?" Professional. Calm. Delete the first 10 drafts where I swore. The 3 dots popped up. There it is. The red mug, it replied. "Don't pretend you're not holding it." I was. The chipped Cedar Point mug. The handle warmed my fingers. My phone buzzed. A weather alert, high wind. On autopilot, I set the mug down. The candle flame trembled. "Good?" Blue Truck 2 sent. "Now open the blinds." I didn't. I tell myself I didn't. I turned off the candle. I closed the tab. I pretended it was a glitch, a weird coincidence, dorm room ghost story logic. But I didn't sleep. The next afternoon, between a Chipotle run and a Kroger pickup, I checked the other accounts. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I'd find normalcy. I didn't. On Kayla's page in Phoenix, another message from a different account. "Got sunblock? Your neck's peeling again." I rubbed my neck. I had taken my hoodie off at a stoplight. No camera was on. No selfie, no mirror. On Jess's page in Pasadena, "You always double knot your left shoe first." I do. I don't know why. Habit from high school track. On Danny's. The left lamp flickers, blue bulb. Fix the filament. These weren't AI guesses. These were little truths. Small, specific. The kind of details your mom would notice when she visits and straightens a picture frame you didn't know was crooked. I set a trap. I moved the blue lamp to the right side of my desk. I unscrewed the bulb halfway. I sat down and waited. My apartment hummed. Distant sirens. The ceiling vent rattled. I opened Hannah's inbox. 3 dots. "Better," it said. "Right side is kinder to your good eye." I pushed my chair back so hard it scraped. I do have a slightly weaker left eye. You can't tell on camera. There was no camera. I messaged the creators. I broke the rules. I said we might have a security issue. They all replied quickly, friendly, trusting. Hannah said she hadn't had any weird DMs on her personal phone. Kayla joked about creeps. Jess said she had noticed typing late at night that didn't resolve into a message. 3 dots that never turned into words. Danny asked if I was okay. I said yes. I wasn't. At 9:04 p.m., the Columbus sky turned the color of a bruise. Power surged. My Verizon bars dipped to 1 and then back. I comforted myself with tech logic. Drafts can show typing status. Camera permissions can get weird. Maybe the dashboard caches something. Maybe somebody on a rogue extension. Maybe. At 11:52 p.m., a new message on Hannah's account, the same Blue Truck 92. I'll make it easy, it sent. Say hello to yourself, Noah. I'd never used my name on any creator account. I was admin, I was team, I was nobody. I didn't type. I didn't breathe. You like hiding in drafts, it continued. Everyone does. Thinks drafts are quiet. But drafts are where the noise goes when you delete it. On my desk under the Kroger receipt, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it buzz. It went to voicemail. The transcription popped up. 3 dots. No words. Just 3 dots. The next day I did the practical thing. I set up a clean laptop. I drove to a Starbucks on High Street near campus. I sat by the window. Pumpkin spice in the air, undergrads in crew necks. An older guy reading a paperback about Kent State. Safe, public, noise. I logged into the dashboard using a fresh hotspot. The first DM came in before the page finished loading. This time, not Hannah's inbox, mine. My personal email spam folder, where the dashboard forwards rejected messages. Subject line, a drafts. The body, a photo attachment named IMG or 317, the same number as the timestamp when I first saw the 3 dots. My hand shook as I clicked. The picture was of me at Starbucks, viewed from behind. Beige hoodie, the little bump on my knuckle from when I caught a baseball wrong at a Reds game as a kid. My hands hovering over the keyboard. In the reflection of the window, a bald guy in a Blue Jackets cap 2 tables over. The 2:13 p.m. time on the TV. I turned. The guy in the cap looked up, friendly, confused, unaware he was in a haunted email. He smiled at me, normal human. I sprinted outside. I looked up and down High Street for a camera, a drone, a prankster with a vlog. Nothing. Just cars and a bus stop and a girl in an OSU hoodie laughing into her phone. My phone buzzed again. Another email. Subject, don't turn around. I turned anyway, stupid. We always turn. Inside the Starbucks window, my reflection smiled. I did not. I called my friend Marcus in Glendale, Arizona. He does contract work for a digital forensics firm. He used to jailbreak iPhones for fun in high school. He was the kind of guy who answers at once when you text, "It's an emergency, man, please." We spent 3 hours on FaceTime. He screen shared, traced headers, checked EXIF data. The photo had no GPS coordinates. It had a camera model, something generic. The IP from the email bounced through half a dozen US cities, Omaha, Newark, Spokane, then landed on nothing. Not a VPN he recognized, not Tor. It's like it routes through dead signals, he said. Like those old TV stations that sign off at 2 a.m. and show the color bars. You're calling into a line that's supposed to be disconnected. We checked the OnlyFans buyer IDs. Blue Truck Night 2 was not one account. It was 5, spread across Hannah's, Kayla's, Jess's, and Danny's pages. Same last 4 of the card, same bank. But the bank code, when Marcus tried to match it, didn't exist anymore. It belonged to a credit union that merged and then shut down 5 years ago in a little Pennsylvania town I've never heard of. Jericho, he said, squinting. Jericho, Pennsylvania, I Googled. Jericho had a diner, a gas station, a shuttered textile mill, a county office for records in a brick building with ivy. The photos on maps were old. The Street View car hadn't been through in years. The credit union's address was now a salon. Yelp reviews from 2019, closed Mondays. Could be someone spoofing, Marcus said. Could be nasty. Could be illegal, could be, man, I don't know. I wanted it to be someone, anyone, a creep I could block. Someone with a laptop and too much time, not a place. At 3 a.m., I woke to the cat hissing, a sound I'd heard only once before, when a stray tomcat tried to climb in the window last winter. The blue lamp flickered. The wind moaned like a low whistle through the kitchen vent. Muffin arched her back and stared at the blank TV like it was showing her something I couldn't see. My laptop chimed from the desk. A calendar reminder I hadn't set. Title, you are typing. I sat down. My fingers hovered over the keys. The dashboard was open to Jess's account. In the message composer, the cursor blinked. No hands. The 3 dots appeared in the corner. The app thought I was writing. Words began to appear, keystrokes tapping like raindrops. Not my hands. Not my keyboard, Noah. This is where you live now. The place between send and delete. Each letter pressed itself. Muffin growled, a tiny brave sound. I reached for the power button. The trackpad moved under my palm like something breathing under skin. Drafts or doors, it typed. You make so many. You never close them. I stared at the composer window. In the corner, the send button glowed blue. I moved my hand back. The words continued. You all think the message is the point, the send thing. It's not. It's the staging. It's the rehearsal. The camera opens and looks. The mic listens. The system sees to offer filters and emojis and quick snaps. You give it permission each time. And when you erase it, it doesn't go away. It goes to me, I whispered, without meaning to. What are you? The blue lamp hummed. The cat flattened to the floor. The TV lit up with my own reflection in the black screen. Me, small, pale, scared. On the laptop, 3 dots, then a single word typed slowly, like it was enjoying it. Jericho. I thought of Marcus's map, the credit union, the diner, the ivy on the records office, the dead bank code. The town nobody updates, Jericho is the place, it typed. I am the deadline. My hands tingled like they'd fallen asleep. Like the pins and needles you get when you sit too long in the cheap seats at a Guardians game, and your foot goes numb. I tried to stand. The chair creaked. The blue bulb flickered out and then on again. Do you want to see? It asked. The attach icon pulsed wide and bright. A window opened by itself, camera. I saw my own face. The app asked politely the way all apps ask, allow camera access. My cursor slid to allow. No, I said. My mouth felt full of dust. No, the cursor stopped. It hung there. A tiny mercy. Okay, it typed. Then listen. The microphone icon pulsed. My laptop fan spun up. The vent in the ceiling whined. Somewhere outside, a siren dopplered by on I-71. There was a sound under it like radio static in a wind tunnel. Every night, it typed. You people open doors and practice being yourselves. You rehearse the apologies, the jokes, the thirst traps, the prayers. You write it and erase it, write and erase all those almost, all those not said. You think that makes you safe. It only makes you mine. I realized I hadn't sent a single message, and yet I'd been talking all day, all night to something that lived in the unsent. Why me? I asked. Because you answer, it typed. You keep the lights on. You stay up. You type and delete more than anyone. You make room, the calendar pinged again. Another reminder I didn't set. 3:17 a.m. The exact minute I first saw the 3 dots. Don't go to Jericho, it wrote. I'll bring it to you. The next day I took my Honda Civic and drove. Not to Jericho, to my parents' place in Dublin. I told myself I'd take a break. Mom made chili with cornbread. Dad watched the news with the volume low. The Buckeyes beat someone. It felt like childhood. Safe. At 9:20 p.m., Dad fell asleep in his recliner. Mom texted my aunt. I sat on the back steps with Muffin in her carrier and looked up at a sky so clear you could see the planes lining up over John Glenn International. I turned my phone off. Then I turned it back on because I am weak. A push notification appeared the instant the home screen lit. New message, Hannah. I hadn't told the creators I was going dark. I shouldn't have looked. I opened it, a photo filled the screen. A childhood photo. Me and my sister in front of the Dublin Library circa 2002. I'm holding a plastic red truck. I remembered the truck. My mom had written our names on the bottom in Sharpie. My parents didn't have this scanned. I had never posted it. The bottom edge was torn in a way I remembered. A rip that happened when our dog chewed the shoebox it lived in. I looked through the kitchen window. Mom was standing in front of the fridge looking at a magnet. The magnet was a slice of pizza we bought at a festival in Hilliard 15 years ago. The shoebox with the photos was in their closet upstairs. Another message arrived. Same thread. Blue truck, it said. Remember? My cat hissed again. Under the kitchen light, tiny hairs rose along her spine. I put a hand on the carrier. It's okay, I lied. The messages started coming faster like a heartbeat in reverse. On Kayla's account, open the closet. On Jess's, under the shoebox. On Danny's, don't wake your mom. I stood up. I went inside. Each board creaked. Each familiar sound suddenly felt like a trap going off. I reached the hallway, the stairs, the top step where the wood always gives under your heel. I paused. From behind my parents' bedroom door, a soft sound like 3 fingers tapping on a wooden nightstand. Tap, tap, tap. 3 dots. I didn't open the door. I ran to the hall closet instead. The shoebox was on the top shelf under a blanket that still smelled like my grandmother's perfume. I took it down. It was dusty. The lid stuck. I pried it open with my thumb. Empty. The box was empty. Something moved behind me. Not a footstep, a draft. The weight of a room rearranging itself around a new idea. My phone buzzed in my palm, hot with notifications. "Don't turn around," it said. I should have listened. I turned. There I was in the glass of the hall picture frame. A school photo of my sister taken at Lakota Middle, smiling in a way she doesn't anymore. Behind the glass, my reflection tilted its head the wrong way. My real head didn't move. The reflection raised a finger to its lip, a shush. On my phone, a final line typed itself slow and kind. "Things you should know about only." It's not what you said that matters. The type it's what you see. The reflection smiled wider. The glass fogged with breath that wasn't mine. Upstairs, the tap 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 turned into a steady rhythm, like someone drumming on wood with the soft part of their fingers. I forced my eyes away from the frame, down to the phone, down to something I could control. The composer window opened by itself to Hannah's inbox, addressed to me, from me. "A draft, are you ready to see?" it asked. "Say yes." The send button glowed, my thumb hovered, and the house went dark. Story 2: My experience with fans on the internet. If you're watching this right now, please do not comment my address. Do not guess it. Do not joke about it. The last time I told this story on a live stream, someone put the exact layout of my apartment in chat. They got the color of my couch right. They got the crooked outlet under my kitchen counter right. And they got something else right too. Something I never posted. Something I never said aloud. But I should start earlier. Before the knocks, before the photos, before I made the mistake of asking for help. My name is Dan. I'm 29. I live in Columbus, Ohio, up near Clintonville, a few blocks off High Street. I make storytime videos. Late night, soft-spoken, coffee on the counter, lights low. That's it. Nothing weird, nothing controversial. I went online to tell stories. I did not go online to be found. It started with a message from someone named June. The first words were so normal I didn't think twice. "Your voice helps me sleep." She said she watched while folding laundry. She said my videos made her empty apartment feel less empty. I typed "thank you" because it felt good to help. That is the drug of the internet. You help, you get thanked, you help again. June commented on every upload. She knew my posting schedule before I did. She quoted jokes I forgot I had made. She sent $5 on a Thursday night that I said I was skipping dinner to edit.
"Get takeout," she wrote.
It was an emoji and a kindness. I ordered Chipotle and felt like the world for once made sense. When the others showed up, I assumed it was the algorithm finally being kind. "New fan here." "Been binging your stuff all week, man." "My fiance thinks your Ohio stories are cute." They called themselves Dan fans, which made me blush, which I tried to hide by reading it in a joking tone. I started to recognize the usernames. Greenglass76, Naptime Nancy, The Quiet Row. They were in my comments before I even hit publish. They would reply to each other too, like they knew each other outside of me. Like there was a room where they talked and I wasn't invited. That should not have been unsettling. It should have been sweet. But there was something off. They typed the same way. Not the same words, just the same rhythm. The same too polite punctuation. No typos, no slang. Even June started to sound like them. "Your cadence soothes my evening." Who writes like that in a YouTube comment? The first package wasn't creepy. It was a coffee mug with "World's Okayest Storyteller" printed in a font you buy for $3. No return address, but that's common when someone ships directly from a big box site. The second package was a soft black hoodie, size medium, which is my size. The note said, "Saw you shiver on stream." I laughed and wore it. The third package was a Polaroid camera with film. The note said, "For when a story needs proof." I didn't even mention the Polaroid on my channel. I put it on a shelf. The fourth package was a small cardboard box that rattled. Inside was a brass key with a worn red tag. No note. I assumed it was a gag gift, a puzzle from some escape room-obsessed viewer. I made a joke on camera about starting a P.O. box because y'all keep bribing me with mugs. The chat exploded in hearts and smiley faces and, yes, P.O. Box. I felt loved. I was not careful. I started doing late-night live streams like midnight to 2 in the morning. Columbus is quiet then. A hush except for sirens on High Street and the train a few blocks away. The building next door is mostly grad students. They come and go. No one knocks. Not at that hour. In the middle of a stream, I read a listener's submission about a door that opens by itself. The chat joked, "Don't jinx it, Dan." I laughed. I heard a single knock on my hallway wall. Not the front door. The inside wall. The chat flew. "Did you hear that?" "Bro, behind you." I played it off. Thin walls. Old building. 15 minutes later, another knock. Same spot, I felt seen. No, not seen. Surveyed. Someone typed, "3 knocks means something is asking to be let in." Another typed, "3 knocks means someone died." I asked the chat to stop. They typed, "Okay, sorry," all at once. I ended early. I turned off the lights, stood in the dark kitchen, and listened. The refrigerator hummed. Pipes clicked. In the bedroom, the Polaroid camera whirred. A single photo spit out onto the carpet face down. The photo showed my back sitting at my desk, shoulder hunched, hand on the mouse. It was taken from the hallway looking into the office. I stared at it until the room felt smaller. I checked the front door locks twice, then 3 times. The deadbolt, the chain, the cheap little latch the landlord installed after a break-in 2 tenants ago. I checked the windows. I checked the balcony. I told myself a story. There had been enough time between the knock and the photo for someone to slip in while I was in the kitchen, take the picture, and slip out. If I told the story right, it made me brave enough to sleep. Morning made me stupid brave. I told myself it had to be a prank. The camera could have misfired earlier. Maybe I had an old photo stuck in the chamber. I convinced myself that logic is a kind of luck. And then my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown 614 number. "Ducky, stream again tonight. We miss you. Only my mom calls me Ducky. And she does not text like a fan. Somewhere, many years back, in a forum I used in 2012. I had written that stupid nickname in passing. I tried to find the post. The forum is gone. The Wayback Machine shows a snapshot with my handle, but the page 404s. The phone number did not respond to, "Who is this?" It just sent me a picture. The brass key with the red tag held between 2 fingers. The background was my kitchen counter, the outlet with the crooked faceplate, the coffee rings I had wiped but not fully wiped. I did not call the police. What would I say? Someone knows a nickname my mom uses and sent me a photo of my own kitchen. The cops would nod and ask me to change my passwords. I did that. I changed them all. I set up 2-factor on everything. The emails rolled in anyway, cheerful, automatic. New login from Windows device in Columbus, Ohio at 2:17 a.m. It wasn't mine. I was asleep at 2:17, but someone was awake. I announced a break. "Going offline for a week," I told the channel. The chat pleaded. "No, we need you. At least do a cozy stream." The names were the same. The rhythm was the same. The whole chat acted like one voice that forgot how to split. I closed the laptop, put it in the bedroom closet, and drove south to Hocking Hills. That wasn't smart. Going alone is never smart. But the state park cabins feel safe in daylight, and I told myself it would be good to breathe trees. I left my phone on airplane mode. I hiked. I ate a sub from a place in Logan with a faded Pepsi sign. I watched squirrels. For the first time in months, no one had access to me. When I came back to the cabin at dusk, the front door was unlocked. The cabin manager could have left it open, or I could have. The bedspread was rumpled like someone tested the springiness with a hand. In the bathroom mirror, someone had written, "We'll wait," with a fingertip on the glass, the kind of writing that appears when steam fogs the mirror after the fact. My phone chimed even on airplane mode. You know how some phones flash old notification banners the second you wake them up? Mine did that. A stack of them. Instagram, Gmail, text, YouTube Studio, and then one notification that was not like the others. Ring, motion at your front door. I don't own a Ring doorbell. I clicked. The app opened. My own porch filled the screen. The last tenant installed the camera and never removed the device from their account. I watch sometimes and feel guilty watching. This time the screen showed my front door, a slice of the hallway, the ugly fake ferns the neighbor keeps by her door. Timestamp 2:17 a.m. A figure stood at my doormat. A hoodie black my size. The hood up. They held up their hand and dangled the brass key by the red tag. The camera switched to infrared and the key glowed like an eye. The figure lifted the key to the peephole, then turned their head toward the hallway light. The face was my face. Not a perfect reflection. The lighting could trick you. But the nose had the same break from high school soccer. The left eyebrow had the same nick where my cousin threw a plastic toy that left a scar. The person at my door smiled like I do when I'm pretending to understand a joke. Then the video glitched. A gray smear, a freeze frame. When it resumed, the doormat was empty. I drove home in the dark. I know how that sounds. Stay in the cabin. Call someone. Call the cops. I drove home because not knowing is worse. Not knowing is rot. I hit every red light from Lancaster to Columbus like the universe was trying to slow me down. The building's hallway smelled like dryer sheets and someone's garlic chicken. Normal. Breathing. My key rattled in the lock. The deadbolt turned. The chain was in place. I slid it free. Inside, everything looked exactly like itself. The coffee mug on the table, the hoodie draped over the chair, the Polaroid camera on the shelf. There was a fifth package on the welcome mat inside the apartment, past the door, on the inside. It was a padded envelope. No return address. My name written in a slanted hand I did not recognize but almost did. Inside, another Polaroid picture already developed. It was a photo of my bedroom closet. The sliding door was half open. The laptop sat on the top shelf where I had left it. Sitting cross-legged beneath it in the half-dark like a kid in a fort was me, hood up, smiling. The same smile as the Ring video. The same smile I practice on camera when I want you to feel safe. That was when I did call the police. Of course I did. Officer Rivera took the report. She checked the locks, the windows, the balcony. No sign of forced entry. No footprints, no fingerprints, no smudges on the glass, nothing. She asked if anyone else had a key. Landlord X? Neighbor? No, I told her about the packages. I told her about the photo. She held it by the edges and frowned at the glossy paper like it could give her the kind of answer she believes in. Maybe someone's messing with you online, she said. Maybe a friend. I don't have friends like that. She said she'd file the report. She said to call if anything else happened. She asked if I wanted to stay with someone else for a night or two. I told her I'd be fine. I said it like a spell. She left. The deadbolt slid home. I put a chair under the door handle because I grew up watching movies where that works. I sat on the couch and instinctively opened my phone to see if the chat was worried about me. The chat was live. My channel was live. A red dot I did not turn on pulsed next to my face. The stream was titled Home. The description said, "He's back." I tapped it. My own living room filled my phone screen. The angle was slightly lower than my eyes, slightly tilted like a camera hidden on the bookshelf. The chat scrolled so fast I couldn't read more than a few words. "We love you. Stay. Tell it." Hundreds of accounts I knew, all typing in that same rhythm. All punctuation neat and tidy. Overlaid on the video were my stream elements, the donation bar, the subscriber alert. A name I didn't know donated $50 with the message, "Turn around, ducky." I didn't. I watched the video feed to see myself on screen. I watched myself lift my head slowly, as if listening to something behind him. The little me on the phone screen stood up. He turned, a pivot with a hand on the couch. He looked into the camera I could not find. He smiled. Something shimmered by the bookshelf. A reflection on glass, a lens tiny, glued behind the spine of a hardcover. I pulled books down one by one. I found the camera. A thumb-sized prism wired into the back of a hollowed-out dust jacket. It was not something a prankster made with a pocket knife. It was clean. It was professional. The stream counter ticked up. 500 viewers. 800. 1,000. In a panic, I shut the stream off from my phone. The screen flashed end. Like I had a choice. I tapped end. The chat begged. "Please, please stay." I turned off my Wi-Fi. I turned off my router. I pulled the plug from the wall like I was yanking a heart from a chest. The apartment went quiet except for my own breath. When I stepped into the hallway, I met my neighbor, Mrs. Whitaker, carrying a bag of litter. She squinted at me. "Saw you on my TV," she said. "Your show comes up when my son puts on YouTube for the cat." I laughed because that is something that can be true. "Weird," she said and shuffled past. On her door, a tiny brass charm hung on a nail, a red tag dangling. The same key? No, I got closer. A motel key fob, old-fashioned, printed with white numbers. The number was 217. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself coincidences do not conspire. I went back inside. My phone buzzed with a new text from the unknown number. Look under the hoodie. Part of being online is listening to instructions you don't remember agreeing to. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Look under the hoodie. I lifted the hoodie on the chair. A USB drive sat beneath it, black, unmarked, taped to the seat with clear packing tape. There was a printed label under the tape that I had not noticed. It said fans, all caps. No periods. I peeled it up carefully as if moving slowly would make the world less sharp. My laptop felt like a bomb when I opened it. I didn't want to plug the drive in. I also didn't want to wonder forever. I plugged it in. A folder opened automatically. A single file, homed MP4. I clicked. The first frames were my living room, shot from multiple angles. Bookshelf cam. Kitchen counter cam. A view from the balcony, which is why I never noticed that tiny dot in the top corner of the door frame. The video cut rapidly like a trailer. The music was my own voice stitched into a rhythm. My laugh, my sigh, my tongue clicking as I think. Then a title card in plain white text on black, for a new self. Another card, FANS. The footage resumed. The front door. The hallway. The deadbolt turning with no hand on it. The door opening slow. Then a figure stepped in, hood up, moving like someone who has lived here for years. Not cautious, not hurried, comfortable. The figure walked to the Polaroid camera and pressed the shutter with a gloved hand. The camera whirred. The picture slid out. The figure set the brass key on the counter, turned to the hidden camera and lifted the hood. Me. I watched myself watch myself. My face is not perfect. One of my eyes is slightly lower than the other in photos. In the video, that little asymmetry was there. The thing that always makes me stand too far left when someone holds up a phone. I scrubbed forward. The timeline was long. Hours of me moving through my own apartment, making coffee, sitting, standing, leaning in doorways. The timestamp said 2:17 a.m. in the corner. The cough was mine. The way I crack my knuckles when I am bored was mine. The knock on the hallway wall was mine. 3 times. The me in the video put a hand on the wall and leaned my weight into it like testing a joint. He turned and looked at the camera. He smiled. He walked toward the bedroom closet. He slid the door open and sat cross-legged beneath the shelf. He stared up right into where the lens must be hidden. He put his chin in his hand and waited. The waiting lasted a long time. That is the part I can't shake. The stillness. The patient, practiced stillness of someone who knows their audience will wait with them. The way the chat waits. The way 1,000 people hold their breath so they can breathe with you in the same second. My phone buzzed in my palm. Another text. We can do this for you, Ducky. We can make you new. Just tell us the story. I unplugged the drive and put it in a kitchen drawer like that could contain it. I opened the front door and stared into the hallway like a dog listening for his owner's car. I wanted to run. I wanted to go to a motel and sleep with the TV on and the deadbolt engaged and the chair under the knob and the chain set and my back against the door. I wanted to go to my mom's in Worthington and eat too much and sleep in my old room, with the glow-in-the-dark stars still stuck to the ceiling. I did none of that. I went live. I don't know why. Maybe because telling a story is how I move through the world. Maybe because if 1,000 strangers watched me, then whatever had gotten in would have to step over all of them. I named the stream My Experience with Fans on the Internet. I stared at the lens. I told my story from the beginning. June. The comments. The packages. The knocks. The photo. The cabin. The ring. The person at the door who wore my face like a thrift store jacket. The hidden cameras. The USB, the video of me, not me. The chat was quiet at first, like when a classroom leans in because the teacher's voice dropped. Then the comments began. We love you. We are here. We can help. And then a new kind of comment. We found it. Found what? I asked. The word tasted like metal. Crawl space, the chat wrote. We found the crawl space. My building is old. There are rumors of crawl spaces that run between units, cutouts left by contractors who shaved an inch here, an inch there. A maze of elbows and dead ends, dusty vents, bolts that go nowhere. I laughed, but it did not sound like a laugh. "Very funny," I said. The quiet on the other end of an internet connection is a special kind of quiet. It is not absence. It is attention, the kind that leans forward. Someone typed, "Behind you." Another typed, "In the coat closet." Another, "We are inside." My breath fogged a little in front of my mouth. The heat kicked on. The vents rattled. I stood. I walked to the coat closet by the front door, the one with the squeaky roller that always derails. I slid it open, coats, umbrella, shoe rack. The back panel of the closet looked wrong. The paint was newer. The seam at the bottom was raw wood, as if someone pried it up and pushed it back and didn't care that the paint chipped. I put my fingernails under the lip and pulled. It gave. Behind the panel was a rectangle of dark and cold air, dust motes floating like a private galaxy. I put my face close. Smelled like old wood, old rain, someone's secret. I told the chat I would be right back even though I knew I was lying. I slid my hand into the gap. It was wide enough to wriggle through if you thought about it too long. My fingers touched a smooth curve like a pipe. Then a metal rung set into the stud. A ladder. I retreated. I put the panel back. It did not sit flush anymore. You could see the dark line where the world inside my wall began. I sat down in my chair. I swallowed. The chat typed, "We're waiting. We are all here. We love you." I stared into the lens. "I am going to end the stream now," I said. The monitor reflected my face. Under the reflection, a single notification blinked in the corner. New video uploaded, home.mp4. The title made my stomach drop. I had unplugged the USB. I had dragged it to the trash. The upload bar should not have crawled across my screen, but there it was. Live on my channel. The thumbnail was a still frame of the coat closet with the panel half open. The timestamp on the video said 2:17 a.m. I don't remember clicking. It opened anyway. The audio was the soft roar of the building sleeping. The camera angle was low, looking up at the closet. The panel moved. A hand, my hand, slid it aside. The space beyond was darker than before, as if someone had shut off a light on the other side. The ladder rungs glinted. A face appeared in the gap, mine, dirt on my cheek, the nick in my eyebrow. The face smiled without showing teeth. My voice came from the speakers, nearly a whisper. This is the part where you ask them to like and subscribe. The chat exploded with applause emojis and hearts and yes. The me in the video laughed. It sounded like I was in the room because I was. On my couch, watching myself rise out of the wall. The two of us made eye contact through a screen. One step removed, like a mirror and a mirror. I closed the laptop. I pressed my palms to the cover like I could hold the scene inside it. The knock on the hallway wall came again. 3 times. The chat, in perfect rhythm, typed, "Let us in." This is the point in a story where the teller gives you a choice. They say, if you want the safe ending, stop now. They say, if you want the true ending, keep listening. I do not think there are safe endings anymore. I am speaking fast because every second I am speaking is a second you are looking. And as long as you are looking, they cannot come behind me. And as long as you are here with me, I am a wall they cannot open. That is the bargain the internet offers. That is the bargain I took. The moral, if there is one, is this. Attention is a door. You do not get to choose what walks through. I am going to go to the closet. I am going to open the panel. I will tell you what I see if I come back. If this stream ends on its own, if the video goes black and I don't say goodnight, please do not try to find me. Do not triangulate the sirens. Do not DM my neighbor. Do not mail me a key. If you are a fan, be a fan from very far away. I am walking to the closet now. The panel is lighter than I expect. The second knock just came, softer this time, like a friend. I can see the rungs. I can see a flicker of light down there, like a phone screen held in a palm. The chat is typing all at once like one voice. They say, he's almost here. Story 3 OnlyFans. Stories that are kind of disturbing. It always starts the same way a fire starts. Quietly, at 2:17 a.m., with a tiny red dot that says, new message. A glow in the dark. A sound that makes you think you imagined it. You roll over, tell yourself you'll check it in the morning, and you never do. That's how it spreads. I don't create content. I don't subscribe either. Not really. I'm the person friends in my building call when the internet stops being a screen and starts being a door. I keep a folder on my desktop that says kind of disturbing, because horrifying sounds dramatic, and dangerous sounds like a word that belongs to other people. Kind of disturbing is what you can tell yourself while the fire is still small. I'm going to tell you 3 stories from that folder. They happened in places you've been, to people you could sit next to in a Dunkin' line. If you came here for something kind of disturbing, you'll get that. But I need you to listen closely because there's a reason these stories feel familiar. There's a reason this feels like it could happen to you. Her name was Jenna. Cleveland Heights, Ohio, Cedar Road, above a nail salon that always smelled like acetone and holiday candles. Jenna wasn't trying to be famous. She was trying to make rent after the breakfast spot on Coventry cut the staff down to weekends only. Jenna's OnlyFans page was mostly tame. Behind-the-scenes selfies, outfit hauls she'd already posted cleaner versions of on Instagram. The photo that became the problem was a dumb little thing she posted on a Tuesday night at 9:38 p.m. She was laughing, chin-tucked cup of mint tea in her hand, the word cozy typed in lowercase with a maple leaf emoji. Her followers loved it. The comments were harmless. 30 minutes later, a new subscriber, handle Good Neighbor North, dropped a tip and a message. The plant in your window could use water. Jenna stared at it. She didn't have any plants. Her place was empty except for a thrifted couch, a TV with a white scratch across the center, and the mint tea. She replied politely that he must have her confused with someone else. He sent back a thumbs up. The next morning, Jenna opened her front door to find a small brown paper plant sitting on her doormat. The tag said, ZZ hard to kill. No note, no knock. She laughed it off. People sent gifts sometimes. There are fans who think PayPal receipts are the same as friendship. 2 days later, the ZZ plant sat on her windowsill, drooping. She posted a photo with the plant in the far corner, blurry. Looks like I'm a plant mom now, LOL. The handle Good Neighbor North tipped again. Another message: that window faces Cedar, white Jeep, right? She had a white Jeep. Food delivery drivers always parked in the fire lane out front, and she figured he saw it in a live once. Because Jenna sometimes went live to talk about reality TV while the Cavs played quietly in the background. No one on the internet should have been able to see the exact location of her window. No one should have known the plant's pot had a hairline crack in the back from where she tapped it too hard on the sink. The third message had no tip. Just don't post the front door anymore. Management is going to fix the mailbox. You're welcome. That afternoon, apartment management taped a note on everyone's door about new mail keys. Jenna snapped a photo for Instagram, finally, then deleted it 5 minutes later, heart pounding because the angle caught the brass numbers on the doorframe. 3B, she told herself she was being dramatic. Cleveland Heights wasn't a horror movie. Her neighbor was an older woman who left notes about recycling. The street was loud and friendly. But that night at 2:17 a.m., Jenna woke up to the smell of cologne she didn't own. Not strong, just a suggestion. Like a stranger brushed past you in a Target aisle, and then a knock, soft as fingertips. No one at the peephole. She pressed her palm to the door. The wood was cool. Jenna bought a Ring camera the next day. She put the plant in the window to block the corner. Her feed filled with packages, a scarf, a note in blocky Sharpie that said, "For the wind off the lake." One night she scrolled through Ring footage and froze the frame on a blur next to the mailbox, just a shoulder and the edge of a baseball cap. She scrubbed back. There was a moment, a half second, where the screen glitched and showed her door from the inside. Not possible. A flash of her couch. The white scratch on the TV Ring support told her it was a compression artifact. That happens sometimes. Video burps. Jenna took down the plant. She blocked Good Neighbor North. She moved in with a friend in Lakewood for a week. Nothing happened. No gifts, no half-knocks, no cologne. The first night back in her apartment, she set the Ring alert volume to max and settled in with mint tea. At 2:17 a.m., her phone buzzed. New message on OnlyFans from a new account. The handle was different. The tone wasn't "ZZs thrive in low light. They like being near doors." Tyler lived in Austin, off South Lamar, in a one-bedroom where the AC never quite kept up with June. He was a fitness trainer on YouTube, and a friend convinced him to open an OnlyFans for bonus stuff. He didn't do anything wild. Behind-the-scenes workouts. A live Q&A Sundays. He thought he was being careful. He used a green screen. He blurred the background. He used a P.O. box. He used a second phone. His biggest tipper called themselves Patron Saint 88. They weren't creepy. They asked about shoes. They asked about macros. They left motivational quotes that sounded like something a high school coach would stencil on a locker room wall. The first weird thing was a comment during a live. Tyler was showing his dumb new blender and talking about pre-workout flavors. Someone wrote, "Hey man, your smoke alarm's battery is low. The chirp is driving me insane." Tyler paused mid-sentence. He'd been hearing a random chirp in the apartment, but not consistently. He said he'd change it. Chat scrolled fast. He moved on. That night he stood on a chair with a battery and the chirp didn't happen. Austin June made the air heavy. He slept with the fan on. No chirp Sunday night. Live Q&A. Patron Saint 88 tipped, then wrote, "Thanks for fixing the chirp, respect." Tyler blinked at the screen. The chirp hadn't happened. He hadn't changed the battery. He shrugged it off. Someone was trolling. He signaled a laugh, drank water, said goodnight. Monday, 3:03 a.m. The chirp woke him up. A single bird in the wall. He lay there, eyes open, tracking minutes. 3:22 a.m. Another chirp. He went room to room like a ghost hunter, phone flashlight shaking. The sound always seemed to come from the room he wasn't in. At 3:47, his second phone, the one with OnlyFans, buzzed on the kitchen counter. A message from Patron Saint 88. "It's the one in the hallway. You keep standing under the wrong one." Tyler didn't move. He stared at the tiny glow of the phone, at the black kitchen window that reflected him back. He typed, "How do you know that?" No response. He waited. He paced. The chirp hit again, soft as a hiccup. He climbed the chair in the hallway, cracked the plastic cover, and snapped in a battery with hands that felt like someone else's. At noon, he drove to the Apple store at Barton Creek and asked a guy in a blue shirt how to check for unknown devices connected to a phone. He'd read about AirTags. The blue shirt guy showed him a screen. Nothing connected. He walked through his car with the Find My app. Nothing pinged. He bought a new phone case anyway. Solid, thick, industrial. The next live, the Patron Saint 88 tipped big. Tyler's hand shook when he thanked them. The chat was normal. Then the message, "You look better when you sleep on your left side. Less snoring." He ended the live. He locked the door. He checked the blinds, the locks, the AC vent. He opened the smoke alarm he'd just fixed. Inside the plastic cavity, where the battery sat snug, there was an extra thumb-sized piece of something black, smooth. Not a battery. He didn't know what it was, only that it did not belong to the smoke alarm. He put it on the counter and watched it like it would move. He didn't call the police. He didn't go to a hotel. He took a shower he couldn't feel, packed a bag, and called his brother up by the domain. Halfway to the door, his phone lit up again. Patron Saint 88. "The new case makes your phone run a little hot. You'll take it off in 2 days." He threw the second phone in the kitchen trash. When he got to his brother's, he opened the bag and found the trash phone sitting face down on top of his shirts. It was in airplane mode. The Patron Saint 88 message was gone. Madison lived in Portland. Not the cool part with murals and food trucks stacked like Lego bricks, but a quiet street with cracked sidewalks and a maple that dropped leaves anytime it felt like it. She worked remote for a nonprofit and did audio customs on OnlyFans. Short whispery things. "Read this line like I'm the rain on your windows. Say happy birthday to my cat, his name is Harvey." It was the least visual thing on the most visual platform. Madison's rules were simple. Nothing explicit. No home address. No saying last names. She was careful. She didn't think about mirrors or knickknacks or the way the rasp in her voice could be used like a fingerprint. She thought she was invisible because the camera wasn't pointed at her. A new subscriber, 10-digit, requested a custom. Generous tip. A script that looked like poetry. All numbers in rhythm. Read it slow like a lullaby. 358239, pause. 11702. Madison laughed at the weirdness and recorded it in her best Rain on Your Windows voice. A week later, another. This time like you're talking through a door. The numbers didn't look like anything. Not dates. Not area codes she recognized. She did 3 customs back to back and bought a better mic. One afternoon, her friend Kayla in Beaverton texted, "Why did you Venmo me $400 4 times?" Madison stared at her phone. She hadn't. Her bank app showed a login from new device. The bank flagged it and froze the account. She changed passwords, switched to an authenticator app, and told herself it was a coincidence. You know how banks are. Glitchy. The next custom request from 10-digit wasn't numbers. It was a list of words that felt like a comment on a room. Read towel, mirror, silver edge, steam, echo, drip, window latch. Madison stood in her bathroom with the mic because the acoustics were nice. Her mirror was old with a silvered edge that had gone spotty. She pressed record. The room hummed. When she said window latch, she paused because it made her skin crawl. Her bathroom window had a latch you could only open from the inside. She sent the file. The tip came through big. She texted Kayla that the bank mess was sorted. She made a sandwich. Normal things to put the floor back under your feet. 2 days later, a record arrived at her P.O. box. An actual vinyl record cracked slightly at the corner. No return address. The label read, Side A, Rain on Your Windows. She didn't own a record player, but Kayla did. They put it on. Static. Then Madison's voice reading numbers, slow and soft, like a lullaby. Then Madison's voice again, but not the file she sent. A breath she didn't remember taking. The tremor when she said latch. Kayla took off the needle because her face had gone white. That's your bathroom, she said. You can hear the upstairs radiator. That knock, that's yours. Madison's phone lit up. New message from a new account. No avatar. 10-digit was gone. The message was a single line. You sound best when you forget the mic is on. Madison didn't record customs after that. She stopped posting for a bit. 2 weeks later, she ordered a new mic because she missed the quiet focus it gave her, the gentle work of shaping sound. She told herself she'd be more careful. The night it arrived, her phone pinged at 2:17 a.m. A message from no one in her request folder that had been empty. It was a short audio attachment. She hit play without thinking, her voice whispering from somewhere close enough to feel the warmth of it. Leave the latch alone, Maddie. Good girls listen. If you're keeping score, you saw the pattern before I said it out loud. New handles. New towns. Different styles of content. One person who never uses the same name twice. One person who treats a paywall like a peephole. He's not special. He's not a mastermind. He's patient. He's boring. Boring can be lethal when boring refuses to sleep. He knows the sound of a smoke alarm chirp from a mic check. He knows what Cleveland smells like in the fall. He knows a lobby camera's blind spot the way you know the spot on your phone screen, where a speck of dust lives under the glass forever. This is the part where I tell you, I was hired to collect these stories. That is true, I was. Creators don't call the police because the police say, just block him. They call me and I tell them which screws to check in a window frame, which pieces of plastic are supposed to be inside a smoke alarm, which neighbor smiles too quick. I help when help doesn't look like a badge. This is also the part where I tell you why I know the timing so well, why I keep saying 2:17 a.m., like it's a superstition. I moved here from Pennsylvania, Columbus now. Grandview area. My building is one of those shiny new ones where the gym is all mirrors and the hallways smell like citrus cleaner. My neighbor is a nurse. Night shift. Leaves at 10:30 p.m., returns at 7:15 a.m., exhausted enough to sit on the steps with her shoes still on. Her OnlyFans page is a secret, but not to anyone she trusts. Her content is pretty tame. Mornings, coffee wear, a laugh that's 2 notes lower when she's tired. She pays her student loans with it. I know this because she told me one night at the mailboxes before the holidays, when the building hung lights that flickered in a way that messed with my eyes. She got a package last week. Brown paper, green string. A note in blocky Sharpie that said, for the wind off the river. The scarf inside matched her eyes in a way you don't get right by accident. She told me it creeped her out. I said, yeah, kind of disturbing. She laughed. You use kind of like a talisman to tame the thing, like naming a storm makes it yours. At 2:17 a.m. that night, my phone buzzed. New message. Not for me. For a page I watch without following. A public post, but only public to people who have already paid. The caption was late night tea. A routine that feels safe in the way routines always do until they're not. In the reflection of her microwave door, if you brightened the image, you could make out a shape by the window. A shape that looked like nothing until your stomach knew what it was. A shoulder, a cap, the black soft oval of a camera lens. I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor with a mug that went cold twice. Watching the building's security monitor the superintendent forgets to log out of when he goes to the bathroom. I watched the empty lobby. I watched the door. I watched a man in a gray hoodie look at his phone in the elevator like it was a prayer book. When the nurse came home, I walked her upstairs. I pretended I was checking my mail. I pretended that makes two people less breakable than one. She asked me if I'd always been this paranoid. I told her I collect kind of disturbing things. Like a hobby. Like rocks, she laughed. She closed her door. Her deadbolt clicked. I opened my laptop and added a folder. 3 names, 3 towns, 3 different kinds of fear. The same timestamp under each screenshot like a brand, 2:17 a.m. I typed a note to myself. A reminder. Change the habit. Watch something else.
Read a book.
Go outside when the sky is still blue. I didn't do any of that. I sat there with my hands on the keyboard until they went numb. I watched the hallway camera flicker. I watched nothing happen. You want the moral now. You think I'm going to tell you to tape over your camera or leave the plant off the windowsill. You want a list you can follow that returns the world to you the way it was before you clicked subscribe. I can't do that. There isn't a checklist. There's only the quiet work of remembering that attention is not love and paying attention is not a gift. There's only the hard truth that the internet is the only window in your place that never latches right. And the wind on the other side isn't weather. It's breath. But that's not the twist I promised, is it? Here's the twist. You asked for OnlyFans stories that are kind of disturbing. You wanted me to stack them up for you like little plates of something spicy. And you'd try one, and your tongue would burn pleasantly. And you'd go to bed and you'd wake up fine. I know the recipe. Hook, middle, fear, twist. I know the timing. I know what keeps a room listening. It's the rhythm you start to learn if you are patient. If you are boring. If you sit on floors and wait for 2:17 a.m. to occur to someone like a thought they don't like having. You want to know how I kept finding them? How I knew about smoke alarms and latches and plants that like low light. How I knew that if you turn a photo just right on your screen, and you stand close enough for your breath to fog the glass, you can see more of a room than anyone meant to show you. There is a version of this ending where I tell you, I used to be him, that I am sorry, that I changed, that I tried to turn the urge that made me into a tool I could use to help other people. That's a nice ending. It tastes like amends. It would be kinder to both of us if I left you with that. Here is the ending I have instead. Listen, that knock you sometimes hear in your videos, the one the comments say is haunted house vibes, that's not your building settling. That's the sound of someone learning your rhythm. You post at 9:38 p.m. on Tuesdays. You go live on Sundays, big endorphin energy. Then you leave the camera app open an extra minute while you clean up. Because the notifications are still rolling and it feels rude to close the door in the middle of people waving goodbye. You screenshot your own post to share it on another app, and for half a second, the reflection catches a shape you didn't notice. You scroll past it because you are tired. You are hungry. You think it is nothing. Someone else is not tired. Someone else is not hungry. He likes boring things. He likes beeps and latches and plants you can't kill. He likes the part of your life that looks like a pause. He likes people who are busy because busy means patterns. Busy means you'll forget to change one thing you always do. One time. It is 2:17 a.m. right now where I am. My phone just buzzed new message. Not for me, the subject line is your name. Beat. Do you hear that? That soft little tap tap behind you? Don't turn around yet. It is probably nothing. It is probably the wind moving a thing that doesn't weigh much. It is probably pipes or a neighbor or the words you say in your head when the room is too quiet and you haven't learned how to love the quiet yet. Wait. There. The second tap. The kind that understands you only if it repeats itself. This is your moral if you need one. Paywalls are not locks, and attention is a door that only swings one way. What you feed waits. I'll tell you if it was nothing. If the line stays open. If I don't answer the next time you write, it's because I'm standing very still, listening for the latch to move.